started here on our GitHub Scope and Mini Jam workshop. I will say, if you are not here for the workshop and want to do an open dev night, kind of like other nights, we're going to be having the workshop in here. It'll last around 30 minutes. If you want to just do open dev, either you can sit in here and just not pay attention, or if you want some peace and quiet, you can go to another room, like Cox 214 is available. Dabney, it's 222? The room right there.
We'll have Duncan and Camden, some of our other officers, finding a room for anyone who wants to just chill out while the workshop's going on. And we'll also have some bake sale items left over from our bake sale the other day that are half off. So if you want cupcakes, cookies, whatever, check that out. But I will say also, after this short workshop, we'll be doing the mini jam, which is something that should be fun for anyone to participate in.
Yes. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to breeze through this as quickly as we can so we can get started. But, okay, hold on. Okay. So first, we're going to just give a brief overview of what GitHub is. It's mainly a platform for version control where you can upload and manage files and share them across a team. If you want to explain more on that.
Yeah, so when y'all we're starting our game jam next week, which will be a 3-week-long project. And you and your potential teammates probably won't all be working on the same computer. So you're going to want a way to share your project and make iterative changes that you can easily pass to one another. And that's something GitHub lets you do. Think Google Drive, but more tailored towards rapid change and iteration.
So the basis of this is your repository. So this is kind of your home base. This is where your files will be displayed, and you can look at your files and you can see changes and whatnot. And so we'll be diving into more of the features, but you'll start your project by creating a repository, and you'll be putting your files in there. And other people are able to clone your repository, meaning they get access to the same repository you're in, and they're able to pull the files onto their system, and that way everyone can interact with the same set of files. If you want to expand on that.
And you just have to create a GitHub account. We usually advise you use a personal email account because your school GitHub has a lot of restrictions because it's a different type of GitHub account. So we recommend just making one with your Gmail or something, and then after you create your repo, you'll have to invite all your teammates to join it, at which point they can download the repo and come off of it as well.
So what is this pushing and pulling terms we're using here? So simply, pushing is taking your files and putting them onto the repository. So whenever you make changes to files and whatnot, you can push them or you commit them and then you push them. So committing them is just saying, yeah, I had these file changes and I want to put them on there, but I'm not going to put them on there yet. And a push is putting those, like the repository accepting those files into its repository, and now everyone else has access to it. And so then pulling is the opposite, where you take the files from the repository and you essentially download the latest versions onto your system for you to use and edit as you please. That's good. And then so next is branches. So if you were doing this constant pushing and pulling, it might get a little finicky if multiple people are working on different things at the same time, because maybe you make a change and they made a change to the same thing and it gets a little weird. So that's where we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a second. But this is where branches come in. So you can make kind of other versions of the repository for yourself. So think of it as your main branch is the one everyone has access to. You can create another branch, which is basically your own set of those files that you can change and make additions to. And once you push to your branch, it's separate from the main one. So the main one can have the older version that has not been touched, and you have this new version that has your changes and all that, and people can go and view your changes. You can look at other people's branches and observe their changes. This may sound confusing, but through the mini jam, we'll be using branches as for submissions, so it'll make more sense to you later if this is confusing. But the main advantage of doing this is just so you can have multiple people doing different things. And eventually, once you're in a state where you're happy with the changes you've made, you can merge those branches together, and so that branch will go away. And that's kind of what this is showing here, is you have this main branch, I think it's the blue, and this sub branch being the pink,
They made their own branch, they add a change, they merge it into dev.
So it's just a way to edit files without disturbing everyone else. If you want to.
Yeah, I was gonna say GitHub, unlike something like Google Drive or other file sharing services, it doesn't retain copies of every change you make. What it does is it keeps track of a change list. And so what will happen is if I change file A and Carson also changes file A, it's not going to know which change is the right one. So it's important to use branches so that you can have separate change lists from other people and you can figure out how to merge those together later. And also to make sure you don't overwrite one of your teammates' work.
Which gets us into the ideas of merge conflict. So that's the exact thing Phillips just brought up, is if you make a change to a file and someone else makes a change to the file, they don't know what's happening. So at that point, you're going to have a merge conflict where you have two different versions of the same file. One is technically correct within the scope of your project because one is a better direction for your end goal, but GitHub doesn't know that. So at this point, either you have to go in by hand and be like, okay, which one was right, or the solution is to utilize branches in order to avoid conflicts like this in the first place.
And even if you use branches, you'll have to resolve this in the future. So it's good to think about how to prevent this from occurring. Specifically with code files, like code files are just text. Usually GitHub is really good about merging those because GitHub will know there's a change on line 5, there's a change on line 10. Those are separate things, and it can fill in the dots. But with game engines, it can get a little strange. So for example, Unreal Engine, any file within your project is actually a binary file. So it's just a bunch of garbage the computer is able to interpret. And so if two people make changes to that, there's no possible way for GitHub to know how to merge those two things because it's just not readable at all. Only Unreal really understands what it is because it's a binary asset. Similarly, in Unity, you have the scenes, which is where you build out your game levels. Those are also rather incompatible with GitHub pushes. So there's a few things to keep in mind when using game engines with these things, but that's something that we are here to help with whenever y'all start making your games.
So then moving on, so these are some examples of GitHub applications. So there's Git Bash, which is kind of your terminal console-based program. There's Git Kraken, which I know some people in here are fans of because you get the very pretty lines. But the one I'm going to recommend the most, because it's the one I use and I enjoy it a lot, but you don't have to use it, is GitHub Desktop. I think it's pretty streamlined in general. And for the mini jam, there are instructions in the README in the repository for how to push and pull and create a branch using GitHub Desktop. So if you are new to GitHub and these other options don't seem very inviting to you, like this one is not very inviting, I recommend looking at GitHub Desktop and grabbing that right now. But we'll continue on to scope and pre-production. So this is going to be very key for your game jam next week, where it's next week, right?
Our game jam starts next week.
This is going to be a very key topic due to just being able to make a game in a limited amount of time is very hard. And there are going to be sacrifices you have to make. You're not going to be able to do everything you want. So going in with a good game plan and knowing, okay, we are going to do this in this amount of time to make sure we have the best product we can have is really important. So first we're going to talk about kind of general terms. So pre-production is that kind of roadmap to your game production. So establishing who do we need on the team? What is the game about? What is our gameplay loop? What kind of assets are we going to need? Stuff like that is things that you do before you even start creating an asset or even touching an engine. Scope is what you're trying to accomplish within the time you have. So, for example, we just did a game jam called Ludum Dare. It was 3 days, and so there's not a lot you can do in 3 days. So, for the game I worked on, our scope was to have a kind of a basic puzzle gameplay loop that we could add levels to, because we knew we would be able to achieve that in 3 days. So, knowing how much time you have and adjusting your game structure to that is the idea of scope. And then finally, scope creep is what we call the idea of adding more things when you don't really have the time for it. going back to the example of the puzzle game we worked on, if we wanted to add another mechanic, or maybe we were like, our puzzle grid is 7x7 right now. Let's add a third dimension to that. Let's make it, instead of 7x7, 7x7x7. That'll be a great idea. That's what scope creep is. It's kind of just adding more things because you're really getting in the groove. You're like, you know what, this is awesome. We're killing it. Let's add more shit. And it's just not going to work out most of the time. So what should you do for your game jam? What is this? Because we're making small projects in a short period of time, we heavily encourage kind of focusing on one small gameplay loop that's very polished. Whether that be like a 2D platformer with good character movement, or like a versus game where you have a very set rule set. Those are great ways to create a polished product in a short amount of time. Along with that, defining a central mechanic. So knowing your kind of main gimmick behind your game. So if it's a 2D platformer and you can run, you can jump, but maybe you want to put heavy emphasis on a wall jump. Putting a lot of time into designing that and making sure you're scaling that to the proper scope for a time frame. Then these are some important roles for a game jam. So starting off with a kind of development director and producer. This is kind of a role I took on a little bit in our past game jam. Basically kind of being responsible for what tasks do we think we can get done and what are our goals for this project. So you're kind of helping set scope for the game. You're kind of dividing up tasks, making sure everyone's on topic and on pace with the project and assisting where you can. This is not you're the person in the chair barking at people. You're kind of encouraging them and helping them get towards a goal while also working on some yourself.
A good way to approach this goal during a game jam is just making sure you have one person who's keeping track of what needs to get done. And it's smart even when you have a short amount of time to define milestones. You can say, by this time we want to have this list of things done. And you can communicate with your teammates, and if you assume you'll get something done by a certain amount of time, and then you start and you're like, oh, we need music and 3D models, and then the people making those just don't have it or they can't get in at that time, then that's a lack of communication from the director. You need to make sure that what you're asking, what people are doing is in line with the project goals, and that people have enough time to realistically accomplish what they want to.
Next, game designer, just kind of focusing on core game mechanics and figuring out how they truly function within that small scope. Just because being able to really define that and have a concrete idea of what your gameplay loop is going to be, especially within a short time frame, is going to make it a lot easier for your programmers to know what they're doing. For artists to be like, okay, I need to make these assets because this is what's going to happen in our game. Level designer, incredibly important, especially if you have something like a puzzle game or a 2D platformer or something where kind of the game's mechanics heavily rely on interactions in the world. And so being able to put someone on that so people can develop the core mechanics of the game while levels are also being developed is important, is a good way to kind of make sure you're not bottlenecking yourself and waiting for programming to be done before putting in levels, even if some of those levels might not translate directly. Artists, I think this one's pretty obvious that you would need artists for a video game. Visuals are a key part of the game, so making sure you have people divided on those. I would say in years past, it's been hard to have more than one artist on a team. But if you are fortunate enough to have more than one artist on a team, I heavily encourage dividing up tasks between your artist. One person can work on character designs and enemy designs, while the other person works on environmental art and maybe UI or something like that. Just making sure you have those tasks divided up so you're not kind of getting in each other's way, because within a short time frame, you really need to be organized. Programmers, they create the gameplay features, and then sound designers kind of work through getting all the sound effects and music done for the game. Is there anything you want to add?
I was just going to say some projects may require some of these roles more than others. You want to make your team fit the type of game you're making. So, like, a lot of times, like, the game designer role will be the entire team is kind of collaborating on that. some games need a level designer more than others. It's really, you just have to decide what you want your game to be and what roles you need for that.
Next, these are various ways to kind of plan out your game. So one example is wireframes. These can be useful for kind of UI layout. You can do some level design layout with this, but it's mostly for UI layout and figuring out where you want assets to be and things like that. Moving on, gameplay loops are critical. I highly recommend going and sitting down with your team and establishing your core gameplay loop and really like writing it out. So, one example, the picture on the left, killing monsters to get gold so you can buy more stuff and kill more monsters. Very simple loop, but being able to sit down with your team and really establish that will get you all on the same page moving forward. The gray blocking is a really good technique for level design, just kind of going in there and getting ideas down on paper or even in your environment, just so you can play around with them later on and tweak them as you please. It's better than going in raw and just deciding, I'm going to go in engine and build a level. Yes.
Is gray blocking the same thing as gray boxing?
Yeah, so the left, that's gray boxing, but the reason we kind of use gray blocking is just expanding that to 2D. It's a more general term. Gray boxing is kind of for 3D stuff because, I don't know.
Boxes are 3D.
Yes.
Blocks.
And then another great way to do it is whiteboarding. So these actually are two examples from this weekend at Ludum Dare. So this team up here used it for level design. So they drew out their level design and they're able to collaborate on a big whiteboard where they can all go in and make changes. And this one is more general game design decisions. So establishing a gameplay loop. Maybe there's some UI stuff here. So establishing what sounds need to be there. Some game rules on the bottom left. Just whiteboarding is a good way to kind of just vomit up ideas on a place where everyone can see them and being able to make changes over time.
Making those asset lists, like the list of sounds with the priority of which are most important for your game, is a really good way to have your artists and sound designers actually able to get the products you need for the game. Because if you just give them this exhaustive list of every possible sound you could get in, you probably aren't going to get all of that. So if you're able to nail down what you need, and this also extends to even programming, game design, anything, it's all about figuring out what you need for your product and getting that done first.
So overall, kind of the key takeaways for being successful in a game jam is starting off with a strong idea of what you're going to do. So that includes your core mechanic, your pillars, which are kind of what is your game founded on. You're gonna go lean into gameplay, make sure it's the most polished thing, and then skimp out on visuals. Or do you want this to be a really visual experience where you put a lot of time into art and flow and animation? Then creating asset lists and creating priorities for those. So like Philip said, kind of creating a list of sounds or art assets that you want and making sure that the ones that are most important to establishing your pillars or completing your gameplay loop are the ones you tackle first. And then trying to stay away from scope creep by, if you're able to really dive in and establish what you want your game to be for when you're designing, it's a good way to avoid scope creep because you can go back and be like, do we plan on this, or do we establish that we wanted to add this to our game? No, we didn't. Do we think we can do it? No, we can't. So really kind of sticking yourself to a design and focusing on that. And you know what? If you complete it and you have extra time to spare, then go wild. But still, even at that point, set realistic goals. What do you think you can accomplish in the time you have left? So with all that said, now that we kind of gone over, GitHub, the idea of scope and whatnot, we are going to practice this with a mini jam. So real quick, just explaining what is a mini jam. There are these things we do every so often. We've done some of the past couple of years, but we basically take an hour of our meeting time and we encourage people to create anything related to a game. So it can be a 2D sprite, 3D model, game mechanic, game pitch, narrative elements, sound effects. The list goes on. If you can, so we'll give you an hour and just create anything related to a game, and we'll share it with each other and whatnot. And the basis of this is structured just like a game jam. So in a second, we'll pull up some themes. We'll have you guys kind of vote on some, just throw some out, we'll add them to the wheel, and we'll get a theme, and then you'll have an hour to go and create your asset. And then after that hour, or at the end of that hour, we're going to encourage you guys to clone or create a branch on a GitHub repository where you'll create your own folder on there after with your name on it or whatever identifying feature for your asset. And then you're going to put it in there. You're going to push it to your branch, and then we're going to go through and we're going to merge them in the dev, and we're going to look through them. So with that in mind, here are some examples of things done in previous jams to give you an idea of scope. So this up here on the left is a game mechanic someone has done. This is basically kind of like Mario Galaxy Gravity, but in 2D. So they can just run, jump, and get pulled around. I'll pause this. So right in the middle, we have a 3D model. I think the person who made it is here in the back. Hi, Mitchell. And then the bottom are actually ones that I did. They're just kind of game pitch concept art kind of things. So the left was like a pitch idea, and the bottom right was a level design for that pitch. And then these two are other examples of game mechanics. I'll put them in the Discord chat. So for real quick, if you go on Discord right now, at the top of the channels list should be a mini jam tab. In there, there's a mini jam general, a submission, and a theme ideas. So if you guys want to go into that, I will send links for that as well as the repository in there. But these are just kind of examples of things that have been done within this scope. And so use that as a basis for what you're going to work on. What? Okay, hold on. Oh, shoot. Okay, so next we're going to kind of pick a theme. So these are kind of just 5 I found on a random generator, and I threw them in there so we would have some. But if you guys have any good ideas for ones, we will add them to a wheel and we will select them. So I have the wheel pulled up here. If you guys want to throw some into that theme ideas Discord, or you just yell them out at me right now, I'll take any answers. I'm getting this up. Where's the what?
Where's the link
For the what?
Oh, this wheel. Or
No, just shout it out. Put it so you can put it in the theme ideas chat, or throw them out, and I'll put it in there.
Limited space.
I'm not putting limited space in there. Oh shit.
Golden Dragon. Yeah, I know. Well, that was a diversified.
If I don't pick your theme, it's because I don't know. Exactly. Please don't put that in there. That's fun.
Unlimited space. Unlimited space is kind of good.
Dancing. Come up with some obscure stuff. You can be as creative as possible. A reasonable amount of state. Is Adam Inbert?
Reasonable amount of space.
Obscure stuff, awesome. Obama. Rutabaga. I don't even know what a rutabaga is. Okay, no wonder I don't know it. Okay. Mushroom. How about we just go with?
Augmentation is pretty good.
We'll just go with like fruits and veggies. People. There. Anti-gravity. Okay. Can we? I'm giving you guys one more minute. I'm giving you a minute. A lot of the people in here are like not even in the room. Acorns. Okay. I'll go with nature.
1 cubic.
1 cubic meter. 1 piece.
1 piece.
We'll go pirates. Aquarium. Tungsten cube. I'm giving you till You guys got till 7:31. 7:31 and I'm cutting it off. 7:32 is what I meant. I'm looking at this clock. This clock does not.
Wait, I got one.
Dollar store. I like dollar store. I'm putting. Uh, dollar store. What's like a generalization of dollar store?
Dollar store.
Just
is pretty general.
corporations.
No,
Just dollar store.
Dollar General is different than Walmart. No, just say Dollar General.
Dollar store. There's more than one. Pick your favorite. Okay, I'm cutting out. Actually, hold on, President. Any good theme ideas? Okay, we're spinning. Okay. All right, Nathan. Last one. You're the cutoff. You're good. Okay. Do you want to be the cutoff? Sphere. Okay, I'm putting it away. Okay, we're gonna spin. We're spinning. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. We're spinning. So our theme will be.
You can do Dollar Store if you want.
Do we want dollar stores?
Dollar Store.
I'll roll it again.
No one wanted two worlds.
Okay, we're doing dollar store.
Alright, y'all can start making whatever you want related to Dollar Store. If anyone wants any help, you can use this time to learn something new or get out of your comfort zone. If you want any help with that, just raise your hand and one of the officers can come by and help you out.
Yeah. So I'll just leave this up here.
You put it out?
This is. Yeah.
The branch is Nathan Muckler's branch for the fall 2023
Okay.
game. Mini
What's the first one? I'm going Grant. I'll do Grant.
Is that a fucking YouTube title?
That's his dissertation. Branch name. Oh my god.
Grant asset. Yeah. What do we got?
Oh, that's
I'm trying. Where's Grant? You want to comment? What's your what? You had a fun time making it? That's Grart?
I like the store. The characterization of the sun.
Yeah.
The sun really makes it. The sun is so bright it's lighting itself.
Grart, good job. Good job, Grart. Okay. Who's next? I'm just gonna go through them.
All right. Dollar store. Let's go.
Wait, what is it? GEI. See it.
Why don't you just merge everything in the
What? Where is it? I'll come back to it.
Look,
Whoever,
actually, we could.
yeah. Whoever had the. I just don't see it.
So should
Where is it? Did you post it?
Oh, I see it. I see it.
Okay, we got it.
Yeah. Oh, it's okay.
We got some music.
I just hooked up. I'm sorry.
Who did this?
Is this okay?
That sounds good.
Yeah. Well, you want to keep?
Done music before this, Jan?
Okay. Here, let's open the next one while this goes. Yeah.
Just let it play.
Nathan? Yeah, what could... What?
Yes, here you go.
I'm so sorry. My bad. What? Oh, it's on my screen. It's on my screen. Well, what are these?
I don't know. It just has like
Yeah. You're using the cursor as the watch face.
Oh yeah, I forgot the cursor's in the script. This is from Ian.
This is from Ian. Do you want to explain it?
So this is based on a YouTube video where this kid's like knocking stuff off the shelves and this guy like swoops in and like gets him out of there. This is like a Pac-Man style game. I didn't draw the maze quick enough, but
It's like, okay.
I got everything else.
That's a maze.
That's awesome.
Bro, that's like almost boss. Single brain cell. Right. What? The single brain cell. True. These lines.
A gift. Okay. Who is this?
Whoa.
Do you want to talk about it a little bit? No, not even $1.
We got some stuff.
That's it.
Body.
That is it. Yeah, it's VV4.
No, you're good.
Oh, you think it's vertical? Oh.
Okay, what's next?
Oh, we think it's
Margaret. Malik?
Oh. Nice shot.
Go.
Hey, Andrew. Hey, nice.
Dollar store?
Looks good.
Yeah. No door?
I tried as well. You're harder than I am. I never realized. I wasn't really sure. I didn't realize that. It's a one.
Yeah.
It's a one. It's $1.
Did you see it on there? Here, Luke.
Yo, Luke.
Did you push? You pushed?
I see it on my machine.
Is it on?
I see it on mine. It's on
Oh, it's on mine.
Yeah. I'm refreshing. Hold on.
There it is.
Where?
It's 3 minutes.
Got it. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. My
New map.
Nice.
You're keeping that, right?
I mean,
Hey,
I'm just gonna keep it in the file. So
Good.
when somebody finally data mines this game, they say, "Why the fuck is there dollar tree here?"
Yeah.
No, secret stage, bro. You gotta.
Secret stage.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like the equivalent of like a Kuma stage, right?
Uh-oh. Oh, did you? Okay.
Who made a game? Who made a game? Oh, I got 2 questions, I guess. I am not wrong. Mark supposed to apparently someone was persistent about the game not being I was going to Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I could know.
Duncan.
What?
Okay. Tell me what to do. Sorry, I don't know what happened.
You're $10. Yo!
Upgrade the score.
Oh shit.
From Ludendar in this, I've now been convinced to do whatever I can next to get done. It was like so many dollars. Yo, you could not do this.
What?
That was done.
Huh?
Make a new project and
I gotta get to 1,000?
Just spam upgrade store on one
I know that's what I'm gonna do.
Like, I would only been 5 at time this country.
Yeah, we'll get the. We'll get it to 1,000. What's the next branch? Daniel. Hold on. Let me just check. I know. I'm just making sure there's not 2 because there's 2 Daniels.
Hey, Daniel, which branch is yours?
This is the one named Daniel Everhart.
Okay, got it. There.
Got it.
Where there are multiple Daniels.
Yes.
There were multiple Daniels.
Oh, did I branch?
Is it this?
Oh, shit.
Oh shit! One doubloon store. That's sick.
Hey, that light though, yeah.
Yeah, the lighting's pretty.
I like that.
Okay, who's next?
This feels like a very successful mini jam. Like the most successful one we've ever had.
Yeah.
I think so. Things we're looking at.
Oh, this is a game. This is a mixie. What the fuck? What do I do?
Hey, did you make that on the right there? I feel like I see this somewhere. WSA the money.
What are the controls?
Gotta bring
Holy shit. Does this just loop through? Oh, it's random? Oh.
There's more?
Wait a minute.
Volcanic Viper, brother. Is there any more? Or okay, that's awesome. Yeah, that's great. Who's next? You? I know which branch is yours. Where's Food Line? Phillips Food Line Q. You want to explain this one?
All right, prepare to be amazed.
Have you volunteered yourself?
What did you make, Philip? No. I didn't make that.
Sorry.
Oh shit, Philip, you own Food Lion?
You are not prepared to witness this.
Food Lion Cube.
That's exactly. I made sure to edit the UVs so you could see easy, fresh, and affordable. You can live inside of it.
That has like a bumper sticker.
Alright.
It's just not
The Food Line Cube will make it in a game at some point.
Philip's like, but not bumper sticker, like the two little foam dice and the hanging off the thing, but they're both Food Lion Cube. Dude,
Alright.
that would go crazy.
How do you transfer a 3D map texture to real life?
As a foam cube.
Do you want to explain it all, or?
Three some things together. I like gradients a lot, so that's why the background ended up being a gradient. Naila's idea was just the money. I was kind of surprised the emoji worked.
It's like the new age clip art.
Oh, is that okay? Is there anyone else?
Ooh, I made a model. Look at it.
You did?
Yeah,
Did you push it?
I watched it. It's called Camden's Dollar Store.
Camden's
Dollar.
Dollar Store. We're making great time.
Naila said, "What language is that?" I said, "I spell it wrong."
It's also Spanish for okay.
That's funny. It is. I tried the texture and it didn't work. You can see the D and the R. The rest of it is there. I found it.
There we go.
Camden, I can show you how to apply a Food Line texture to you.
Oh,
Yeah, it's hard
okay,
to
thanks.
see.
I'll make sure to get that done later.
All right. Any more?
Anyone else? What's up, Ella?
Okay, and then I'll get you back there.
What's
Hold
your
on.
name?
Got
The
it.
other Daniel.
No way.
No. You need Jam Daniel percent. It's almost complete. Let's go.
Oh, version 2?
We'll have to judge.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
So there's this.
Jelly beans.
Oh, that one? Is that version 2?
That's
Okay.
that's it.
Okay.
Huh?
And then other Daniel. Anyone else, or we're gonna call it after.
There was one more.
Okay.
Carson, do you have GCC?
Yeah.
Can you compile?
Oh wait, is it for Linux? Maybe not now.
You can come plug your computer in if you want.
It is.
We're gonna let people
It doesn't even work.
Glad I was able to help you really hard.
Oh, animation.
That was really fun.
Nice.
Oh.
Dollars.
Oh
Okay.
shit! Nice.
Nice.
Pretty good.
I was surprised I could afford.
Sweet. I'll leave that up there.
Who did this?
Who is it?
Whose animation is this?
Oh,
Is this other Daniel?
there's other Daniel.
Nice.
M okay.
Dude, we have so much talent this year. Dude, fall cam's gonna go crazy. We're gonna have like at least 3 or 4 like good ones.
Oh. Here. This one?
So it's checking.
Is this right? Phillips. Right branch? That was big.
That's the dollar king, baby.
That's a dollar king.
That's dollar emporium.
So, yeah. This is. I don't want to butcher it. I don't want to butcher this. Back there. Yeah. Anyone else? Okay. Yeah.
Another. Hello, Adam. I may have forgotten to maximize the OBS windows. It's gonna be real small.
Oh, is it a video?
It's a video, yeah. Because you can't write a POA file. And it's those baggy rolls. Run. So it's a dollar store. So your money stays the same because you're buying dollars for a dollar. So that's not a part of the game.
No.
Demo, like Celeste.
I'm gonna. Well, hold on, real quick. I'm gonna cancel stream. So I'm gonna close stream.
All right, thank you for coming.
Yep. Thanks for stream. Good stream.
We get